Today I want us to look at lesser known characters in the Bible who were apparently disobedient to the Lord within their own Christian walk and their testimony. Good morning, this is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Wednesday. We know that there are those who defied God through disobedience, but what about those who we get a glimpse of in the New Testament in their Christian lives when we see that they're not really pleasing to the Lord? In Philippians chapter 4, Paul is writing some general admonitions to the church, and he mentions these two ladies who apparently had been at odds or disagreements in the church. He says in Philippians 4 and verse 2, I beseech you, Odious, and I beseech you, Syntyche, that they be of the same mind in the Lord. We know from the history of the church at Philippi that women were very instrumental in the beginning of the church. Paul's first group that he met there was a group of ladies who had met down by the river in order to pray. That included Lydia, who also helped them in their journey. These ladies were no doubt some of the earlier converts and maybe had been the backbone of the church in Philippi, perhaps even serving as deaconesses or teaching the young women there. But apparently they had experienced a falling out over something. Now we know what that's like in our present day churches, right? Although their disagreement probably wasn't over the color of carpet in the auditorium. Oftentimes our disagreements can be silly and maybe even unnecessary, but they seem to cut very deep and they tend to be difficult to get along, to get over. Sometimes they last a lot longer than they ever should have. Perhaps today's devotion is an admonition to each of us who may at times be headstrong or tend to be difficult to get along with in certain areas of the work of the church. Notice Paul's admonition here is to each of them equally. I implore you, Odious. I implore Syntyche. He's definitely not taking sides in this disagreement, but he's begging them to find a neutral ground to be able to settle this rift in their relationship. You know, one of the saddest pictures from this is that Paul, who is some 1,000 miles away in prison, has actually heard of this rift in the church so that everyone could see the problem between them, and it was probably difficult on the church as well as those they were trying to reach. He gives a solution that they be of the same mind in the Lord. Now, if we focus on doing God's will and we're laboring together for the good of the gospel, it should not cause any rift or difficulties within us. Along with their admonition to be of the same mind, he also begs the leader of the church to help these women by being a peacemaker between them. You know, that should always be our goal within the body of the church. Not only settling differences between members, but praying for the unity of the Spirit in our work. It's only when we can work in love and harmony that the world will see Christ within us. So let's examine our own hearts today about seeking harmony in the Lord within the body of the church.